Some things in life, no matter how seasoned you are, will always hit a nerve. For me, it was the image of my 93-year-old mother standing alone on her porch holding a manila envelope with shaking hands. I've been shot at in 5 countries. I've dragged friends out of burning Humvees and kicked in doors that no one was supposed to open. But nothing made my blood boil like an unmarked envelope taped to my mother's door in the middle of the night. No stamp. No postmark. Damp from dew. Just a grainy black and white surveillance photo of me walking our fence line. No note. No explanation. Just a warning wrapped in cowardice. 3 days before, I'd flown in to help my mother with what she'd described as a little trouble with the fence. I figured coyotes, maybe some broken posts. What I got instead was a Cold War in khakis. She was sitting in her rocking chair, tea in hand, the envelope clutched like a live grenade. They said my goat shelter isn't up to code, she told me, her voice too steady to be anything but masking worry. Inside the envelope was legalese I hadn't seen since combat-based security disputes overseas, terms like non-compliance, unauthorized development, and the real kicker, pending seizure. Seizure. Of a ranch that had been in our family since before Eisenhower took office. What HOA even sent this? I asked, already feeling my jaw tighten. They keep changing the name, she said. Now it's a rural zoning entity or something. Of course it was. Change the label, keep the power. That's how people hide tyranny in plain sight. I said nothing, but my fists were already clenched. That night I walked the perimeter. Not like a son visiting his mother. Like a soldier checking a compound. Because that's what this had become. And I found them. Boot prints. Near the back gate. Government issue sols. Deep heel tread. Someone had been circling our land. Slow and deliberate. I didn't tell Mom. Not yet. Next morning, I was fixing the east shed latch when I heard Ida clink. Not wind. Not accident. Metal on metal. I moved quiet around the barn and saw it, the padlock cleanly cut. Inside, nothing was missing. But the air felt wrong, like someone had breathed without permission. Over coffee, I showed Mom the surveillance photo. They're watching us, she said. You think they're bluffing? She looked me square in the eye. No. I think they're circling. I gave her back the letter. Then they picked the wrong damn pasture. She gave me that look only mothers have. The one that says, don't escalate. I told her I won't beat, but I will end it. That night at 11:27 p.m. a black SUV rolled slowly up the dirt road. No plates. No lights. It stopped at the gate. Sat there. Just long enough to make a statement. Then backed up and vanished. Next day, a second SUV came. This one didn't idle. It barreled down the drive like it owned the place. 3 men got out matching khaki polos, cargo pants, boots polished like mirrors. One had a clipboard. One had a body cam. And the last one carried a crowbar. They didn't knock. Didn't look at the porch. They fanned out like they had a search warrant signed by God himself. One headed for the barn. One walked the fence line. And the crowbar came straight toward me. I stepped off the porch slow. Afternoon, I said. Nothing. You're trespassing. Clipboard man piped up. Maple Creek Expansion Zone compliance check. Not in this county, I replied. Crowbar smirked. We go where the rules apply. I smiled back, just enough to show teeth. See, that's your problem. You brought clipboard rules to a combat zone. Crowbar's grip tightened. I took another step. You touch that barn again. I touch your trachea. Bodycam guy said, you're being recorded. Good, I said. I'll want playback for the lawsuit. Clipboard said, we have probable cause to inspect. No, I cut in. Probable cause is for cops. You 3? You're dressed like mall security on a field trip. That's when Mom stepped out. Not with tea this time, but with my father's old .222 hunting rifle. Unloaded. But they didn't know that. She leaned it casually against the post. Get off my land, she said. They left. Tense. Angry. But silent. That night, a county record showed up in our mailbox, backdated. Stamped. A request to reclassify our property under a provisional occupancy voidance. In plain English, they were building a paper trail to take what didn't belong to them. Mom tried to laugh, but I saw it in her face. She was bracing for loss. And I made a promise under my breath. Not this land. Not while I'm breathing. 3 days later, they came back. For SUVs. A dozen people in compliance vests. Karen, yes, her name was actually Karen, led the charge. Clipboard under her arm like it was a constitution. Sunglasses. Power posture. Crowbar guy returned. Behind them, drones, tablets, and toolkits. Per HOA Charter Section 14, she declared, this property is under full compliance reinspection. No, it's not, I said. You're operating under outdated boundaries, she argued. The overlay was approved last quarter. We're not in your jurisdiction, I replied. It expanded. Not legally. That's a debate for your lawyer. One of her goons released a drone that buzzed up like a mechanical mosquito. I stepped off the porch. One step, one warning, I said. Sir, please remain non-aggressive, Karen said. You're obstructing a fake inspection with a fake badge, I replied. Crowbar shifted. You want to use that? I asked. Better finish what you start. He didn't answer. Karen tried again. There's no cause for aggression. There is, I said. When you show up like a militia to harass a 93-year-old woman. Mom stepped out. She didn't say a word. Just looked at Karen with eyes like knives. If you want to inspect the barn, she said, walk through me. Even the drone seemed to hesitate. You've got 5 seconds, I told them. Karen smirked. Or what? Crowbar lunged. Bad move. I caught his wrist, twisted, slammed him into the porch post. He dropped. His weapon hit the dirt. Second guy came in high. I ducked, swept his legs, and cracked an elbow into his ribs. He folded like a lawn chair. Clipboard boy tried to run. Mom stuck out her cane. Oops, she said as he face planted into goat droppings. The body cam guy was still filming. I looked at him. Still recording? He nodded. Good. This is your documentary. How not to seize a ranch. Karen turned pale. Her hands clenched the clipboard like a crucifix. You don't scare me, she spat. I'm not trying to scare you, I replied. I'm giving you a warning. Then I leaned close. You come back, and you better bring more than clipboards. They left, licking their wounds. But I knew they'd return. A week later, they didn't come with clipboards. They came with muscle. 3 men in tactical gear cornered my mother by the barn. One grabbed her arm. He never saw me coming. First one hit the dirt before he could blink. Second tried to reach for something. I dropped him with a throat punch and leg sweep. Third was young, nervous. He didn't even raise a hand. 12 seconds. That's all it took. Sheriff Barnes showed up with Karen in the back of his truck. She stepped out like a peacock at a funeral. Barnes tried to mediate. Karen accused me of attacking unarmed compliance officers. I called it what it was. An unlicensed black bag search. You want to talk licenses? She hissed. Let's talk expired livestock tags. Unauthorized fencing. Water runoff violations. You're rattling off nonsense, I said. And your cover's exploding. She demanded I be arrested. Mom stepped between us. Bring a warrant, she said. Until then, take your circus elsewhere. Karen cracked. Just a bit. Enough. They left again. But I knew they'd try a different angle. That night, I dug deep into zoning maps, corporate filings, shell companies. I found them. Marion Property Development, LLC. A shadow company that already owned 5 parcels nearby. Ours? Marked pending acquisition. Not requested. Not negotiated. Pending. Like it was already done. They'd hidden their ambitions behind fake HOAs and paper trails. But they made one mistake. They tried to scare the wrong family. I found the original deed. Hidden beneath the old tool bench in a fireproof box buried under the shed floor. My father's signature. His transfer of ownership to me. Not filed. But signed, notarized, witnessed. It was everything I needed. I filed the documents. Then I made them public. Facebook. Local forums. HOA email chains. Every board member got a copy. Even the mayor. The next day, court. Karen showed up with a new lawyer. Her trump card? The deed hadn't been filed, therefore invalid. Then came the twist. Our independent occupancy survey filed right after Dad passed proved we'd never left. The court ruled the land transfer valid. Her motion? Denied. Then came the death blow. My contact in Denver presented financial links between Marion Development and Karen's brother-in-law. It wasn't just shady. It was radioactive. The judge stood. This land belongs to the Whitaker family permanently. The HOA's claims are nullified. Karen didn't argue. She just walked out. Days later, the HOA board temporarily disbanded. The truth, they all jumped ship. Weeks passed. I saw Karen one last time, in town, leaning against a rusted Corolla. She was smoking something she'd once preached against like a sermon. She didn't glare. She didn't flinch. She just looked lost. Mom watched from the truck. She'll try again, she said. New name. New place. I nodded. Then I hope that new place fences everything twice. At the ranch, we reinforced the posts. Welded the gates. Surveillance now covered every corner. And for the first time, the silence felt like peace not warning. I sat on the porch that night, stars above, tea in hand. And I knew. If they ever came back, they wouldn't be walking into a legal battle. They'd be walking into me. And I don't give warnings twice.